There is one verse in the Bible like this, the to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Yes, beauty for ashes. If it is not for God's mercy, I would have been ashes by now. Because in 2015, I had breast cancer. Uh, for 2 months on palpation, I was feeling some abnormality, but like any other typical woman, I thought this must be related to some benign, already existing condition, that was fibrosis. I just neglected for 2 months. But one day, I felt God forced me to go for checkup. Then when I went for checkup, then followed the series of tests like ultrasonography, mammogram, then FNAC. Everything was coming suspicious findings, suspicious findings. Finally, they did biopsy. Yes, it was confirmed. It was breast cancer, carcinoma of breast. Then after that, they planned my treatment. The treatment modalities, first they started with surgery. They planned for lumpectomy since the tumor was small in size. So they planned for surgery. The day before surgery, one female pastor came to me and she prayed for me and she said, "Okay, see you tomorrow." I thought, oh, tomorrow if I am alive. Because that much I was scared of surgery. Till then, I never underwent any surgeries and I used to make so much fuss for simple procedure also. So I was so scared of surgery. Then the next day, the day of surgery, so I was sitting on my bed and I was going through the promises which God gave me. So then I came to the promise that is in Genesis 15:1, which said like this: "Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward." So when I was going through this promise, the people came to me with the stretcher to take me to OT. So they were taking me to OT. On the way to OT also, I was seeing some verses on the wall: "Fear not, fear not." And when they were giving me anesthesia, I just prayed, "God of Abraham, I commit myself into your hands." So I just prayed. Then the surgery started. Went on well by God's grace. They brought me back to the ward. Then within 3-4 hours, I could get up. I could go to the washroom. God gave me strength. Then the next day when doctor came for rounds, I was just sitting on my bed and like normally. She was so surprised to see me. "What? Last night only you came to the ward from OT and you are sitting so normally." "Yes, ma'am, I'm okay except for some vomiting and nausea." Then and I could make quick recovery, and on third day they sent me home. Then the terror of cancer therapy, that is chemotherapy, started. The terror. I wanted to avoid chemotherapy by all means. I was arguing with the doctor also. "Why are you giving me chemotherapy? It is in very initial stage. I don't want to take chemotherapy." Then doctor didn't leave me. She said, "Go read. It is a cancer is a systemic disease. We can't leave you like that. You are still young and you have a family. You need to undergo chemotherapy." She didn't leave me. I was so scared of chemotherapy. Then one night for family prayer, my children selected one chorus like this: "My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord." I felt God is speaking to me through that chorus. Yes, my strength is in my God. My life is in my God. Then afterwards, again God spoke to me through Psalm 18, which said, "God is my strength. God is my redeemer. God is my refuge. God is my fortress." Again, that psalm gave me so much strength. Then I got confidence. I got strength. Yes, God will give me strength to undergo this treatment. Then they planned 8 cycles of chemotherapy. And chemotherapy started. Then after chemotherapy, they gave us the list of complications. If you face any of these complications, you have to rush to emergency department immediately, like cystitis, then bleeding, like that. But by God's grace, I didn't face any of those complications. I never rushed to emergency department in between chemotherapy. Then usually before starting each cycle of chemotherapy, they test the blood for blood counts. If RBC, WBC, platelet count, HB, if everything is normal, then only they'll go ahead with the next chemotherapy cycle. So when they were checking like that, sometimes my blood counts used to be more than the previous ones. Like my HB used to be around 12, 13, like that. So that in charge sister got surprised. She asked me, "Now what are you doing? Your blood counts are normal, like more than the previous ones." I said, "Sister, God promised me that He will give me strength. So accordingly, God is giving me strength. So I'm, facing all these. I'm not facing any of these much side effects. My HB also is very normal." So like that, God kept me through all that. Then these CMC nurses are very skillful. They were giving me chemotherapy through intravenous route only, no port. And 8 cycles of chemotherapy they gave me through intravenous route. My veins were not much damaged, not much changes, and people could not recognize that I'm taking chemotherapy through intravenous route. That too only one hand. This left side hand they could not use because of the surgery. Then this chemotherapy, before every chemotherapy, they were giving IV cannula insertion. It was very painful. I'm a very fussy person. Even for IM also, a simple IM injection, I make lot of fuss. So insertion of this IV cannula was painful, and biopsy. All these painful procedures were very disturbing for me. So I asked God, "Lord, are you seeing me my pains? All this suffering?" Then God spoke to me one day to that question like this. It is in Isaiah 63 verse 9. "In all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old." So when I read this verse, I felt, no, God is not sitting in heaven happily when I am suffering like this here. At the same time, God is feeling for my suffering. He feels for my suffering, I felt. Yes, whenever I suffer here, God is to feel my suffering there. So God spoke to me like this, and I felt, yes, God feels for my pains. So like that, chemotherapy finished. Then the next treatment, radiation, started. Even during radiation, in every small single step also, we could see God's good hand, God's guidance, God's goodness we could see. Then really God was our El Shaddai. He took care of us physically, psychologically, spiritually, and of course financially. When I was diagnosed, we had around 1/8 of the needed money. That's it. Again, for that, God spoke to me like, "According to His riches in glory, He will meet all your needs." Accordingly, God met all our needs. We didn't ask anyone for money, but when it was needed, God was providing whatever was needed. So God took care of us every need. Then next thing, it happened in the initial days of my diagnosis, like before they started treatment for investigations sake, many times we have to go to CMC. So whenever we go there, we used to stay back in annex. And one day, it was one early morning. Okay, me and my husband were there in the annex. As you know, when the one person in the family is suffering with cancer, family members also equally or maybe more than that patient, family members will be affected. So in the same way, my husband was so disturbed. That day, early morning, when he was sleeping, he can't remember whether it was a dream or it was a vision. He saw footprints on the sand. You know this footprints story. He saw those footprints. Then he heard someone whispering to him, I will carry you through. I will carry you through. Then immediately, he felt, yes, God only is speaking to me. God will carry us through. So again, he was strengthened when God spoke to him like that. His fears went away from him. Then, like that, we could experience God's goodness at every step. Then we could say like God is good all the time, even during the time of cancer. And today I am what I am just because of him. I am what I am. Then so these are our experiences during the time of cancer with God and God's provision.